Have you read about 16th Finance Commission of India? Have you seen it in the newspapers? So the Union Budget 2026-27, it was released on February 1st. On the same day, the report of the 16th Finance Commission was also presented to the Parliament. Actually, the report of the 16th Finance Commission was presented to the Union Cabinet in 2025 itself, in the month of August 2025. But why it has not come into the public domain? Unless it is presented to the Union Parliament, we will not get access to the document. So the report of the 16th Finance Commission, it was presented to the Parliament on February 1st. So it became a public document on February 1st. So and then what is so important about the report of the 16th Finance Commission? I think you got the handouts. So in the UPSC prelims exam in the last 6 to 7 years, almost 5 to 6 questions have come. In the UPSC mains exam in the general studies paper, again 4 to 5 questions have come. How many of you are planning to take the prelims this year? You can expect for sure 1 question in the prelims exam, 1 question in the mains exam. Finance Commission of India, very, very important. In fact, the most important topic in the Indian polity. And now it is much more important because the report has come. And you know that the report of the 16th Finance Commission will be under implementation for the next 5 years. If you read for this year, you don't need to read for the next 4 years. The report is for 5 years, 2026-27. 2026-27 to 2030-31, which means in the next 5 years, questions on Finance Commission of India will keep coming on the same report in the prelims and in the mains exam. If you read from the current affairs, usually that is relevant for 1 year. But the Finance Commission report is not like that. It is important and relevant for the next 5 years. That's the significance. So before I get into the recommendations, straight away if I discuss the recommendations of the 16th Finance Commission of India, you may have a difficulty in understanding the recommendations. There are certain basic terms and concepts which are necessary for understanding the report of the 16th Finance Commission. And I think ma'am has shared it in the group. Please have a look at it. So these recommendations, these basic terms and concepts, we need to first discuss. So let me get started asking you a question. Do you think that the Indian Constitution is federal? Is Indian Constitution a federal constitution? What do you say? Is it federal? What is the definition of federalism? Yes? Division of powers. The basis for defining any constitution as federal constitution is if the executive powers and the legislative powers, if they are divided between the central and the state governments by the constitution, then that is called federal constitution. We all know that we have 7th schedule. What is 7th schedule? 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution speaks about division of powers between the central and the state governments. Executive powers are divided, legislative powers are divided, financial powers are divided. We say union list, state list, concurrent list. How many items are there in the union list? 98 items. How many items are there in the state list? How many items are there in the state list? 59 items. How many items are there in the concurrent list? 52 items. On all these subjects in the union list, center is supreme, parliament is supreme. On the subjects in the state list, state legislatures are supreme, state governments are supreme. On the subjects in the concurrent list, both the center and states have power, concurrent power, joint power. In any constitution, if there is such a territorial division of powers between the center and the states, then that is federal constitution. So the Constitution of India had this territorial division of powers. So we say that Indian Constitution is federal. Clear? See, division of powers is broadly 2 categories. Horizontal division, vertical division. What do you mean by horizontal division? In any modern government, there are three branches, you know: executive branch, legislative branch, judicial branch. So if the powers of the government are distributed among the three branches, then that is called horizontal division. But if the powers are divided between the central and the state governments, that is called vertical division or territorial division. So the Constitution of India, it divides the powers between the central and the state, so it is a federal constitution. Then why the framers of the Indian Constitution chose a federal constitution to India? Why not a unitary constitution? A unitary constitution is one which gives all the powers to the national government. Executive powers, legislative powers, financial powers, judicial powers conferred by the constitution on the national government. That is unitary constitution. My question is, why the fathers of the Indian Constitution or the mothers of the Indian Constitution or the framers of the Indian Constitution, why did they choose a federal constitution for India? The reasons are simple. India is large in size, in terms of geographical size, in terms of population, in terms of diversity, we are very big. So it is not easy to govern this country from Delhi alone. The union government sitting in Delhi cannot administer the entire length and breadth of the country. So that's why we chose a federal constitution. So now we have a union government at the central level, and there are 28 state governments at the regional level. So a federal constitution is much better suited to countries where the population is vast, where the geographical size is vast. That's the reason. Okay. Then we say that India is not just a federal constitution, we say that it is cooperative federalism. Cooperative federalism. Indian Constitution is a very good example for cooperative federalism. On cooperative federalism, in 2017, there was a question in the general essay paper for 125 marks. Very important. Questions have come not just in the essay paper, even in general studies paper 2, in the mains exam, several times questions have come on cooperative federalism. So what do you mean by cooperative federalism? I said India is an example for cooperative federalism. What do you mean by cooperative federalism? Simple. Center and the states cooperating with each other. This is the easy definition, but the actual definition is write down. Cooperative federalism, it refers to cooperative federalism, it refers to cooperative federalism refers to mutual. Cooperative federalism refers to mutual interdependence. Cooperative federalism refers to mutual interdependence between the central and the state governments. Cooperative federalism, it refers to mutual interdependence between the central and the state governments. This is a definition given by an American political thinker, Anthony Harold Birch. Anthony Harold Birch. He is the person who gave the definition. Mutual interdependence between the central government and the state governments. What do you mean by that? Central government depending on the states. State governments depending on the center. Can you give examples for the states depending on the center? Center depending on the states. For example, the state governments, they depend on the union government for money, financial resources. What is the size of the union budget? The budget has come roughly 54 lakh crores. In that, half of the money goes to the states. Half of the money, 26 lakh crores is the money which is going from the center to the states for the financial year 2026-27. What is budget? It is an estimate of revenue and expenditure for the coming financial year, April 1st, 2026 to 31st March 2027. For the next 1 year, what is the expected revenue? What is the expected expenditure? So the budget, size of the budget is 54 lakh crores. In that total money of the union government, 26 lakh crores, it goes to the states. The state governments are dependent on the union government for financial resources. Out of every 100 rupees which a state government spends on an average, we have 28 states in India. I am telling the average. Out of every 100 rupees which a state government spends in 1 year, more than 40 rupees it is coming from the center. So which means the states are hugely dependent on the central government for finances. So this is an example for states depending on the center. I said mutual interdependence. Center is also dependent on states. Have you heard about centrally sponsored schemes? What are centrally sponsored schemes? Right on. Centrally sponsored schemes are those schemes. Centrally sponsored schemes are those schemes. Centrally sponsored schemes are those schemes which are taken up. Centrally sponsored schemes are those schemes which are taken up on the subjects in the state list. Centrally sponsored schemes are those schemes which are taken up on the subjects in the state list as well as in the concurrent list. Centrally sponsored schemes are those schemes which are taken up on the subjects in the state list as well as in the concurrent list, designed by union government. Designed by union government. Designed by union government. Comma. Implemented through state governments. Implemented through state governments. Funded by both the center and states. Funded by both the center and states. Funded by both the center and states. For example, health is in which list? Health is in which list? State list, concurrent list, union list. State is in, health is in state list. So we have a scheme called a National Health Mission, Ayushman Bharat. This is an example for centrally sponsored scheme on a subject in the state list. You know Manrega, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Program. Now it was renamed G Ramji. So employment is in concurrent list. On employment there was a scheme called Manrega. This was again an example for centrally sponsored scheme. So they are taken up on the subjects in which list? State list, concurrent list, not union list. If it is union list, it is called a central sector scheme. Write down this one also. Central sector schemes are those schemes. Central sector schemes are those schemes. Central sector schemes are those schemes which are taken up on the subjects in the union list. Which are taken up on the subjects in the union list. Central sector schemes are those schemes which are taken up on the subjects in the union list, designed by union government. Designed by union government. Implemented by union government. Central sector schemes are those schemes which are taken up on the subjects in the union list, designed by union government, implemented by union government, fully funded by union government. Fully funded by union government. Full stop. Example, NHDP, National Highways Development Program. Example, National Highways Development Program. Okay. See, National Highways, it's a subject in the union list. So the union government has the power to development of national highways is the responsibility of the union government. For developing the national highways, there is a scheme. What is the scheme? NHDP. Who designed it? Union government. Who implements it? Union government. Who will provide funds? Union government. That is central sector scheme. Do you know how much the union government spends on central sector schemes every year? I told you the size of the budget. What is the size of the budget? 54 lakh crores. The union government is spending 18 lakh crores on central sector schemes every year. Write down. 18 lakh crores roughly. In 26-27, in 2026-27, the money spent on central sector schemes, 18 lakh crores. How much it is? Almost 1/3 of the union budget. Then what is the money spent on centrally sponsored schemes? The union government alone, 10 lakh crores. That also you write down. 10 lakh crores. The money spent by the union government on centrally sponsored schemes. I have explained what is central sector, what is centrally sponsored. Clear? Now I have demonstrated the mutual interdependence. With respect to centrally sponsored schemes, they are designed by union government. But who will implement them? States implement. So central government is dependent on the state governments for implementing the centrally sponsored schemes. Center is depending. States are also depending on the center. I just told you, in the total union budget of 54 lakh crores, 26 lakh crores is the money which is given to the states, which means the states are dependent on the center. So if such interdependence is present, then that is called cooperative federalism. Then let's move to Finance Commission of India. Do you know that Finance Commission of India is called as balancing wheel? Finance Commission of India is called the balancing wheel in center-state financial relations. So Indian polity over, center-state relations over. Even if not over, I will explain. So I said in the 7th schedule, there are executive powers divided, legislative powers divided, financial powers are also divided. So in the center-state financial relations, Finance Commission of India plays a very important role. And it is called the balancing wheel. Why is it called the balancing wheel? This is a very key word. When you write answers in the mains exam, you must make use of such keywords. Value addition for your answer can get extra marks. You can use data like what I said now. That is value addition, will get marks. Anyone in the class? You can try. Why Finance Commission of India is called the balancing wheel? Do you agree with me if I say that in India, how many states we have? 28 states. Is it that all the states are well developed? No. States in South India, Western India, developed. States in North India, Eastern India, Northeast India, not very developed. So there are imbalances. They are called horizontal. Among the states, some are developed, some are not developed. They are called horizontal imbalances. Understood? Then what are vertical imbalances? Assume that I am the teacher, you are a student. Usually, there are exceptions. The teacher is more knowledgeable compared to the student. This is a vertical imbalance. So the Finance Commission of India will try to address vertical imbalances and also horizontal imbalances. I will explain what are vertical imbalances. I have already explained what are horizontal imbalances. Bihar, UP, very poor. Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, well-developed states. So we need to develop UP and Bihar also. Finance Commission helps in that. It tries to address imbalances among the states. That's why it addresses imbalances. That's why it is called balancing wheel. Okay? Finance Commission of India tries to address both vertical and horizontal imbalances. That's why it is called balancing wheel. Then what do you mean by vertical imbalance? I just told you about 7th schedule. If you take the union list, those taxes which generate lot of revenue, they are kept in the union list. There are taxes in the state list, but the problem with the taxes in the state list is they generate only limited revenue. So the consequence is the ability of the union government to generate revenues very high. We have personal income tax, corporation tax, central excise, customs duty, central GST, IGS, they are all there in the union list. So taxes which are mentioned in the union list, they have the potential to generate lot of revenue. So here the union government, the capacity of the union government to generate revenues is much higher compared to responsibilities. On the contrary, on the opposite, the capacity of the state government to generate revenues is limited compared to responsibilities. I just told you, out of every 100 rupees which the state spends, 40 rupees is coming from the center, which means the states are not financially autonomous and independent. This is called vertical imbalance. To make it simple, take a family that there is grandfather, father and a grandson or granddaughter. Grandfather is a retired IAS officer. Father is a group 1 officer. Grandson pursuing civil services coaching. So if the IAS person retires, he will be getting lot of pension, monthly 2 lakhs. What is the salary of a group 1 officer? Say 70-80,000. Grandson, he spends, doesn't make any money. So now the capacity of the grandfather to make money is much higher. But what will be his expenditure? He doesn't spend much. Similarly, take father. Father is making 70 to 80,000, but he has to take care of the entire responsibility, expenditure of the entire household. His expenditure will always be more than his earning. That is the state of states. Local governments, they almost earn nothing, but they spend money. This is the situation in India. Union government, state government, local government. The capacity of the union government to generate revenue higher compared to expenditure. The capacity of the state government to generate revenue limited compared to responsibility. Responsibilities are more. For example, if you take in the union list, we have health, agriculture, rural development, drinking water, sanitation, law and order. They all need lot of money. Where is money? Money is with the union government. So if you compare center and states, the financial situation of the states is not good, but the financial situation of the central government is much better. This is called vertical imbalance. And what the Finance Commission of India does? In the revenue of the union government, on the recommendations of the Finance Commission of India, the union government must share its revenue with the states. For example, 16th Finance Commission said 41% of the revenues of the union government must go to all the 28 states. That's how the Finance Commission will address vertical imbalance. The union government will collect money through its taxes, but this money is not meant for union government alone. It has to share some money with the states. On whose recommendations? On the recommendations of the Finance Commission of India. That is called vertical imbalance, horizontal imbalance. Clear? Finance Commission of India tries to address vertical imbalances and also horizontal imbalances. Vertical imbalance between the center and the state. Horizontal imbalance among the states. That's why it is called balancing wheel. That's why it is called balancing wheel. The next term, gross tax revenue. Unless you understand these terms, you don't understand the report of 16th Finance Commission. And you don't get them so easily in the books also. They are not explained. Gross tax revenue of the union government. Write down. Gross tax revenue of the union government is equal to okay, gross tax revenue of the union government is equal to direct taxes plus indirect taxes plus cess. I will explain. CESS. Cess plus surcharge. Gross tax revenue of the union government is equal to direct taxes plus indirect taxes plus cess plus surcharge. So the union government gets some revenue through direct taxes. What are the most important direct taxes of the union government? Personal income tax, corporation tax. The union government also gets revenue through indirect taxes, customs duty on exports and imports, excise duty on petroleum products. Excise duty, it is a tax on manufacturing. Then we have central GST, integrated GST. So the union government gets revenue through direct taxes, it gets revenue through indirect taxes plus cess. What is cess? Article 270 deals with the cess. Cess is a tax on tax. For example, your income is 100 rupees, annual income. Personal income tax on that, say if it is 30%, how much you pay as tax? 30 rupees. On that, if I say 10% cess on the income tax which you are paying 30 rupees. Your annual income is 100 rupees. On that, rate of income tax is 30%. Out of every 100 rupees, you have to pay personal income tax to the extent of 30 rupees. On 30 rupees, I would say cess is 10% of your personal income tax. So what is 10% of 30 rupees? 3 rupees. Cess is a tax on tax. Because this is levied on personal income tax, I gave an example. Personal income tax is the tax which people pay on their personal incomes. On that personal income tax, again there is a tax, that is cess. Write down. Cess is a tax on tax. Cess is a tax on tax, but for a specific purpose. Cess is a tax on tax for a specific purpose. Cess is a tax on tax for a specific purpose. I will give an example. Do you know how much the union and the state government they spend on health? Spending by the government on health as percentage of GDP. What is GDP? Roughly we say national income. So nominal GDP in India 300 lakh crores. In that, how much we are spending on health? Hardly 1%. 1% of GDP is being spent on health. But that is not enough to achieve the goal of health for all. The ideal requirement is you must spend 3 to 4%. The minimum spending which is required to improve the health of the population is 3 to 4%. How much we are spending now? This is a very, very important fact you should remember. Write down. Public spending on health. Public spending on health as a percentage of GDP. Public spending on health. Public spending on health as a percentage of GDP by general government. This is one more term you should know. General government. When you read economic survey, you find this word very frequently, and you should know what is this, what is the meaning of this word. Public spending on health as percentage of GDP by general government is 1%. We are spending 1% of the national income on health. Is it adequate? Not adequate. Then we speak about demographic dividend. In India, we have more number of the people in the working age. If they are not healthy, if they are not educated, if they are not skilled, are they an asset to this country? Not at all. They are a big burden to this country. When people of your age become an asset to this country, when you are healthy, when you are educated, when you are skilled. But the government is not spending enough on health. Education, write down. Education, we are spending 2.5 to 2.8% of GDP. Education, we are spending 2.5 to 2.8% of GDP. 2.5 to 2.8% of GDP on education. But what is the ideal requirement? 6 to 8%. We had a policy on education recently, National Education Policy 2020. Earlier we had a policy in 86. Earlier we had a policy in 68. For the last 40 years, we were saying 6 to 8% of GDP must be spent on education. But how much we are spending? 2.5 to 2.8. Not adequate. We cannot achieve the goal of education for all. Clear? So now the government wants to raise money to spend on health. Then it will levy health cess. The government wants to raise money to spend on education. Education cess. That is the meaning of cess. Cess is a tax on tax for a specific purpose. Which article deals with the cess? 270. Then I said, what is general government? Public spending by the general government on health, 1% of GDP. This data is taken from 16th Finance Commission report. Nothing is my imagination or creation. You can check these facts with the report. You can see the report. Right? What is general government? Write down. General government is equal to central government plus 28 state governments. We have 28 state governments in this country plus 28 state governments. General government is equal to central government plus 28 state governments plus 3 union territories with legislature. 3 union territories with legislature. 3 union territories with legislature. Clear? So now the expenditure on health made by union government plus all the 28 state governments plus 3 UTs with legislature together, anta kalipi, how much it is? 1% of GDP. So general government means central government, all the 28 state governments plus 3 UTs with legislature. So the central government, all the 28 state governments and the UTs with legislature, even if all they come together and spend on health, it is roughly 1% of GDP. Clear? Am I clear with the general government, the concept of general government? So then surcharge. Article 271 deals with the surcharge. Article 271 deals with the surcharge. Surcharge. It is a tax on tax. It is again tax on tax, but not for a specific purpose. It can be used for anything, not for a specific purpose. Surcharge is a tax on tax. Surcharge is a tax on tax, not for a specific purpose. Not for a specific purpose. Clear? So I said, what is GTR? Gross tax revenue. It includes income through direct taxes, income through indirect taxes, income through cesses, income through surcharge. This is all together gross tax revenue. Then what do you mean by divisible pool of taxes? No, write down. GTR is equal to, divisible pool of taxes is equal to divisible pool of taxes. Divisible pool of taxes is equal to, it has another meaning, it has another name. It is also called net proceeds of taxes. Net proceeds of taxes. Net proceeds of taxes. The other name for divisible pool. Clear? Divisible pool of taxes is also called as net proceeds of taxes. How do you get this divisible pool? Write down. GTR minus cess. I will write here. So GTR is equal to divisible pool is equal to GTR, gross tax revenue, minus cess, minus surcharge, minus union territory tax revenues, minus cost of collecting taxes. Cost of collecting taxes. I will explain. Cost of collecting taxes. First write down. Divisible pool of taxes is equal to gross tax revenue minus cess minus surcharge minus union territory tax revenues minus cost of collecting taxes. So for example, to make it simple, assume that GTR is 100 rupees. Cess some 7 rupees. Surcharge another 7. Union territory tax revenue 2. Cost of collecting charges 1 rupee. How much it is? 17. 100 minus 17. How much will get? 83. This is divisible pool of taxes. In this one, the states get 41%, not in the gross tax revenue. To explain that, I am trying to tell you. Then come to this table. From the gross tax revenue, you should take away the revenue through cess. You should take away the revenue through surcharge. Why it should be done? Article 270 clearly says, the revenue which the union government gets through cess, it's for only union government. States don't have a share. Article 270 says that. The revenue which the union government gets through cess, it is for the union. States don't have a share. Article 271 says, the revenue which the union government gets through surcharge, it's for the union. States don't have a share. So that's why from the gross tax revenue, you should take away the revenues of the union through cesses, revenues of the union through surcharge, and also how many UTs we have in India? There are 8 union territories. In these union territories also taxes are collected on different goods and services. This amount also should be taken away. There are 8 union territories, Pondicherry, Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh. In these union territories, there are different taxes collected by the union government. What is union territory? A territory which is under the control of the union government. In these 8 union territories, whatever the union government collects as taxes, that should also be taken away. Then, for collecting all these taxes, there is an expenditure. You have a bureaucracy, tax bureaucracy, income tax officers, IRS, IT, IRS, customs. You need to pay them salaries, all of that. So, cost of collecting these taxes must also be taken away. So, from the gross tax revenue, if you take away these 4, you will get divisible pool of taxes. In that, all the 28 states, they get 41%. States, as per the recommendations of the 16th Finance Commission. This is called vertical devolution. So if the divisible pool of taxes is 100, in that the states get 41 rupees, all the 28 states. To explain that, I have given this. Am I clear? Cess, surcharge, and remember, do the UTs get a share in the divisible pool? They will not get. Already the tax revenues which the UTs get, they are already deducted from the GTR. So in the divisible pool of taxes, all the 28 states will have a share. UTs will not have a share. For the UTs, we have already given money. So because we have deducted it here. So till now, if there is any doubt, I can answer you. Am I clear till now? Is there any doubt? Please feel free. It's your right, our responsibility. Clear? So far I have explained what is Federal Constitution, what is Cooperative Federalism, why Finance Commission of India is called the balancing wheel, what are vertical imbalances, what are horizontal imbalances, what is gross tax revenue, what is a divisible pool of taxes, what is cess, what is surcharge. Clear? Then the other things, Article 275, Article 282. You should know the differences between these two, because there are recommendations of the Finance Commission even on this one also. So what is Article 275? Article 275 speaks about grants in aid. Grants in aid. Article 282 deals with discretionary grants. See, have you heard about local body grants? In India, we have rural local bodies and urban local bodies. In the rural areas, we have Grama Panchayat, Mandala Parishad, Jilla Parishad. In the urban areas, we have corporation, municipality, Nagara Panchayat. They don't have a major source of revenue. They are not able to generate a lot of revenue. So that's why they are dependent on the states. They are also dependent on the union government for their expenditure. So the union government, on the recommendations of the Finance Commission of India, it gives grants to the local bodies, which are called local body grants. What is a grant? Difference between loan and grant. Grant, you don't need to repay. Once you get it, you don't need to repay. Loan, you have to pay it back. So there are local body grants. For example, again there is one more category called disaster management grant. To deal with the disasters in a particular state, the states get money from the center on the recommendations of the Finance Commission of India. That is called a DM grant. Sometimes to improve certain sectors like health, education, agriculture, to encourage the states to take up reforms in certain sectors, again the center gives grants to the states on the recommendations of the Finance Commission. They are called sector specific grants, state specific grants. In addition to that, there is one more category called revenue deficit grants. Tell me, what is revenue deficit? Take budget. Budget has got two accounts, revenue account, capital account. If you take revenue account, it has got revenue receipts, revenue expenditure. If you take revenue receipts, it has got tax revenue, non-tax revenue. So if there is a gap between revenue expenditure and revenue receipts, that is called revenue deficit. So this is filled. For example, in a particular state government, if the expenditure of the state government on the revenue account is more compared to the revenue receipts, the gap in the form of that money will come from the central government on the recommendations of the Finance Commission of India. That is called revenue deficit grant. So these are the different kinds of grants which are given by the union government to the state governments under Article 275. So now write down a table. Article 275, Article 282. Here write down revenue deficit grants. So the different kinds of grants which are given: revenue deficit, local body grant, disaster management grant, disaster management grant. See, anytime if you find difficulty, please talk to me. Don't hesitate. Sector specific, sector specific, state specific. These are the various kinds of grants under Article 275. Revenue deficit grants, local body grants, disaster management grants, sector specific grants, state specific grants. All these kinds of grants, they are given under Article 275. On whose recommendations? The next difference, on the recommendations of the Finance Commission of India, FCI. So the first difference is, here you write down discretionary grants. I will explain. Discretionary grants given under Article 282, they are called discretionary grants. Grants given under Article 282, they are called discretionary grants. Here, revenue deficit, local body, disaster management, sector specific, state specific grants. Okay. Under Article 275, these grants are given by union government to the states on the recommendations of the Finance Commission of India. So write down under Article 275, given by center to the states, given by center to the states, given by center to the states on the recommendations of the Finance Commission of India. All these grants, revenue deficit grants, local body grants, disaster management grants, sector specific grants, state specific grants, all these grants, they are given by union government to the state governments on the recommendations of the Finance Commission of India. Here under Article 282, write down. These grants are given by union government on its discretion, no role for Finance Commission. Discretionary grants given by union to the states. Discretionary grants given by the union to the states on its discretion. What do you mean by discretion? On its judgment, whether good or bad. Okay? Discretionary grants are given by union government to the states on the discretion of the union government, on the whims and fancies of the union government. Example, write down. Here I have given example. Centrally sponsored schemes. Centrally sponsored schemes. Centrally sponsored schemes. I will explain what are centrally sponsored schemes. For example, take Manrega. In a state, if 100 crores is spent on Manrega, 60 crores the union government will give. Remaining 40 crores the state has to spend. There is a sharing. I told you how much the central government gives to the centrally sponsored schemes. I told you. 26-27. What is the money given by the union government to the states under centrally sponsored schemes? 10 lakh crores. That is central sector. For the centrally sponsored schemes, the money given by the union government around 10 lakh crores. So example for discretionary grants, centrally sponsored schemes. The next one. The grants given under Article 275, they are called statutory grants. Read down this difference. Statutory, S-T-A-T-U-T-O-R-Y. Grants given under Article 275, they are called statutory grants. Why? Because they are given on the recommendations of the Finance Commission of India, which is a constitutional body, which is also a statutory body. In 1951, there was a law made, Finance Commission Act 1951. So the grants under Article 275, they are given on the recommendations of the Finance Commission of India, which is a statutory body. That's why they are called statutory grants. Here, what is the name given to the grants under Article 282? Discretionary grants. The next difference. See, in the budget, the expenditure is of two kinds. Charged expenditure, voted expenditure. Any idea? Some expenditure is given every year automatically without reducing it. For example, we know that Supreme Court is an independent institution, High Court is an independent institution, Parliament is independent, state legislatures are independent. How? Every year the expenditure of the Supreme Court and the High Courts, it is automatically given. It can't be reduced. Because if you give the power to the Parliament and to the state legislature to cut this expenditure, the autonomy of the Supreme Court and High Courts will get affected. That is called charged expenditure. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Comptroller and Auditor General, all of this expenditure, it is called a charged expenditure. It is given every year. You can discuss it in the Parliament, but there cannot be any voting on this. If there is voting, you can reduce the expenditure. If you reduce the expenditure, autonomy gets affected. So write down under Article 275, charged expenditure. It is given every year automatically. Charged expenditure. The expenditure, that is the money given by the center to the states on the recommendations of the Finance Commission of India under Article 275, it is called charged expenditure. It is given every year without any reduction by subjecting it to vote of Lok Sabha. It is called charged expenditure, automatically given. But the money given under Article 282, it is called voted expenditure, voted, which means Lok Sabha can reject giving money, it can also reduce giving money. That is called voted expenditure. Voted expenditure. Last difference, Article 275. There is a transparent criteria. No favor treatment. For example, BJP is in power in Delhi. When giving money under Article 275, there is no favor treatment for BJP ruled states. There is a criteria, area, population. Transparent. All states are treated fairly. So write down under Article 275, transparent criteria for giving money under Article 275. Then under Article 282, non-transparent criteria. Here it is possible for the center to favor BJP ruled states. Criteria is not transparent under Article 282. Criteria is not transparent under Article 282. So am I clear till this extent? The next one. What is the time? 5:33. I have to finish the terms within another half an hour because I have to get into the recommendations. So then there are some recommendations of the Finance Commission related to DM, disaster management. With respect to disaster management, there are certain basic terms which you are expected to know. I will explain that. So write down CRF, NCCF, NDRF, NDMF, SDRF, SDMF. So you should know what they mean, because money was allocated to these funds. Right on the first one, CRF, Calamity Relief Fund, Calamity Relief Fund, Calamity Relief Fund. NCCF, write down, have written CRF, Calamity Relief Fund. You know that to deal with disaster management, there was a legislation made by the Parliament in 2005. How many of you are aware? On disaster management, there is a law made by Parliament in 2005. That is called Disaster Management Act 2005, which means, surprisingly, before 2005, in India, there was no law how to deal with disasters. Neither Parliament has made a law, nor state legislatures have made a law. Then why suddenly in 2005 a law is made? Because we had certain experiences. In 2004, we had Indian Ocean tsunami. In 2001, we had a very devastating earthquake in Gujarat called Bhuj earthquake. Orissa, there was a super cyclone. These three are devastating natural disasters. It was an eye-opener to the union government. Then center and states, they came together, they felt the need for enacting a law. So how to deal with the disasters, what should be the framework, all of that. So a law on disaster management was made in 2005. That is called Disaster Management Act 2005. Okay? This law, it provides for creating these funds. What about these two? They were there before the law. Sorry, don't. Calamity Relief Fund, I said. It is the fund at the state level. Calamity Relief Fund, it is the fund at the state level to finance disaster management, to finance disaster management. It is the fund at the state level to finance disaster management before DM Act 2005. Before DM Act 2005. Clear? So before 2005, in every state, at the state level, there was a fund called CRF, Calamity Relief Fund. So if there is any disaster in that particular state, money from this fund is spent. That fund is contributed by both center and states. This is CRF. If in any state, if there is a disaster of very high severity, the money which is available in the CRF is not adequate, you can ask money from a fund at the national level. That is called NCCF, right on. National Calamity Contingency Fund. National Calamity Contingency Fund. National Calamity Contingency Fund. So this is the fund for disaster management at the union level. This is the fund for disaster management at the union level before DM Act. This is the fund for disaster management at the union level before DM Act 2005. Clear? Then the question from my side, when there is already a fund at the state level in the form of Calamity Relief Fund, why do you want another fund at the union level in the form of NCCF? I just told you, if the money which is available in the CRF is not adequate in that state because there was a very severe disaster, that state can ask money from the center, from NCCF. Clear? Clear? Forget about these two. Now come back to these four. Disaster Management Act has created two kinds of funds at the union level and also at the state level. National Disaster Response Fund, National Disaster Mitigation Fund. So NDRF, NDMF, this is at the union level. National Disaster Response Fund, National Disaster Mitigation Fund. At the state level, again, there are two funds. State Disaster Response Fund, State Disaster Mitigation Fund. What do you mean by mitigation? For example, if you take Orissa super cyclone, a study was done. The villages which were protected by mangrove forest. What is mangrove forest cover? In the coastal areas between the land and the sea, especially where the rivers join the ocean, you have a special type of forest called mangrove. So villages where there are mangrove forest cover, they are much better protected. Destruction is low. And now in the name of development, we are destroying the mangroves. And if there is a tropical cyclone, it will badly hit the coastal villages. So if you want to protect the coastal villages from destruction, what should you do? Go for mangrove forest cover in the coastal areas. That is called mitigation. If you want to reduce the severity of a natural disaster, for example, tropical cyclone is one natural disaster. In the coastal areas, it causes loss of destruction. When the winds, tropical cyclone winds, when they try to get into the land from the ocean, the mangrove forest cover, it acts as a bioshield. It acts as a protective barrier. If you want to build such forests and if you give money for that, that is called mitigation. So, and again, if there is a disaster, you need to rescue people, you need to give rehabilitation, you need to give them food and medicine. That comes under response. So at the union level and at the state level, there are two kinds of funds. Union level, response fund, mitigation fund. State level, response fund, mitigation fund. So national disaster response fund, national disaster mitigation fund. At the state level, state disaster response fund, state disaster mitigation fund. Then what about these funds? What should we do? After these funds have come into operation, these funds have become irrelevant. So calamity relief fund, it was merged with SDRF. NCCF is merged with NDRF. Right on. On the recommendations of 13th Finance Commission of India, on the recommendations of 13th Finance Commission of India, on the recommendations of 13th Finance Commission of India, Calamity Relief Fund, on the recommendations of 13th Finance Commission of India, Calamity Relief Fund is merged with SDRF, State Disaster Response Fund. On the recommendations of 13th Finance Commission of India, Calamity Relief Fund is merged with the State Disaster Response Fund. Next line. On the recommendations of the 13th Finance Commission of India, again, on the recommendations of 13th Finance Commission of India, NCCF, National Calamity Contingency Fund, NCCF is merged with NDRF, National Disaster Response Fund. Am I clear? Okay, I am doing away with this one. Clear? Earlier, before 2005, at the state level, Calamity Relief Fund. At the national level, National Calamity Contingency Fund. After DM Act, at the national level, National Disaster Response Fund, National Disaster Mitigation Fund. At the state level, State Disaster Response Fund, State Disaster Mitigation Fund. On the recommendations of the 13th Finance Commission, CRF became part of SDRF, NCCF became part of NDRF. Then let's see the story. 2005 to 2020, for almost 15 years. At the national level, there is NDRF. At the state level, SDRF. But what the DM Act says, at the national level, in addition to National Disaster Response Fund, there should be one more fund, National Disaster Mitigation Fund. Though the law says, Union government has never created that till 2020. Similarly, in most of these states, at the state level, there was response fund, but most of the states have not created mitigation fund. Till 2020, the law came in 2005, for almost 15 years. No mitigation fund at the union level. No mitigation fund in several states. Then 15th Finance Commission said, the earlier commission, we are discussing 16. All the states, along with center, must create a mitigation fund. If you don't create mitigation fund, we will not give grants for disaster management. Then they are created. Now they are there. Now they are there. Before 2020, they are not there. Right on this point. On the recommendations of 15th Finance Commission of India, on the recommendations of 15th Finance Commission of India, mitigation funds. On the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission of India, mitigation funds were created at the union level and in all the states. On the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission of India, mitigation funds were created at the union level and in all the states. See, 16th Finance Commission, what is the validity? 16th Finance Commission, the period, I said 2026-27 to 2030-31. The report of the 16th Finance Commission will be under implementation for 5 years, next 5 years, starting from April 1st to 2026. If you take the 15th Finance Commission, the main report, it was between 2021-22 to 2025-26. This is the period, 15th FC. Which means before 2021-22, there was no mitigation fund at the union level and also at the state level. Now they are there. Okay. So this is one thing which you are expected to know. NDRF, NDMF, SDRF, SDMF, CRF, NCCF. Okay. Then so general government tax revenues, write down general government tax revenues. What do you mean by general government tax revenues? So tax revenues of the union government, tax revenues of all the 28 state governments, tax revenues of the UTs with legislatures. Tax revenue, I am saying, the revenue which the union government gets through taxes, both direct and indirect. The revenue which the states get through direct and indirect taxes. The revenue which the union territories get with the legislature get through direct and indirect taxes. That is general government tax revenue. So assume that if it is 100 rupees, tax revenues of the union plus tax revenues of the 28 states plus tax revenues of the UTs, 3 UTs with legislature, if it is 100, you know the share of the union in this one. Write down, this is very important data. Share of the union, 63 to 64%. If it is 100 rupees, the tax revenue of the union, states, UTs with legislature together, if it is 100, in that what is the share of the union government alone? 63 to 64%. States, 36 to 37. 36 to 37. All the states, 28 states, plus 3 UTs with legislature. Okay. So in the general government tax revenues, the share of the union government 63 to 64%. The share of the 28 states and 3 UTs with legislature 36 to 37%. But see this after some time. After some time means I said all the 28 states, they get a share in the divisible pool of taxes. Write down. There are 3 ways how the money comes from the center to the states. Write down. Money from the center reaches the states through 3 ways. There are 3 ways how money goes from the center to the states. There are 3 ways how money goes from the center to the states. Okay, write down within the brackets how much this is in 26-27. Center nunchi states ke liye amount indak nenu cheppanu. The size of the union budget is 54 lakh crores. Out of this, how much money is going to states? 26 lakh crores. Write down there. 26 lakh crores. Should I repeat? So the size of the union budget is 54 lakh crores. In this money, in 26-27, the budget of 26-27 is 54 lakh crores. In this money, 26 lakh crores, this money goes to the states. It goes in 3 different ways. The first one, write down, the first one. I didn't get you. Should I repeat again? There are three ways. There are three ways how the money goes from the center to the states. There are three ways how the money goes from the center to the states. First one, A. Share in the divisible pool of taxes. Share in the divisible pool of taxes. Share in the divisible pool of taxes. How much share? 41% in the divisible pool. This amounts to, as per the budget, around 9 lakh crores. In 26-27, this is roughly rupees 9 lakh crores. Okay? Share of the states in the net divisible pool. Second one, Article 275 grants. I'm just sorry. This one make it 15 lakh crores. This is 15, not 9. 15 lakh crores. 15 lakh crores. Roughly I'm saying. The share of all the 28 states in the divisible pool of taxes 41. That 41 is equal to 15 lakh crores. 15 lakh crores. Then I said, in addition to this, whatever the states get in the divisible pool, over and above this, states also get money under Article 275. Grants in it under Article 275. That is 9 lakh crores. This is 9 lakh crores. Rupees 9 lakh crores. Clear? The first one is share of the states in the tax revenues of the union government. Second one, grants under Article 275. Third one, I said Article 282, discretionary grants. Grants under Article 282, I said examples, money given to centrally sponsored schemes. The union government gives money to centrally sponsored schemes. That is called discretionary grant. This is 10 lakh crores, 10 lakhs, roughly in 26-27. So what is the total money? 10 plus 1, 19, 10 plus 9, 19 plus 15. How much it is? 34 lakh crores. 10 plus 9, 19 lakhs plus 15. 34 lakh crores. So here the point is, I just told you, in the general government tax revenues, what is the share of union government? 63 to 64. Share of states? 36 to 37. This is before all these three going to the states. I said a share in the tax revenues, grants under Article 275, grants under Article 282. When these were not given, before giving these, the share of the union in the general government tax revenues is 63 to 64. Share of all the states 36 to 37. After the center gives money to the states in the form of a share in the tax revenue, grants in it under Article 275, discretionary grants under Article 282, it becomes 43. Union. States become 57. In the general government tax revenues, the share of the union, just 43. The share of all the states, 57. So states are getting more. So write down now. Write down a line. Any doubt? Any doubt? Any confusion? This is clear now. The money from the union government, it goes to the states in three ways. The first one, a share in the divisible pool of taxes. Second one, grants in aid under Article 275. Third one, discretionary grants under Article 282. The first one, it is around, as per budget 26-27, the first one is around 15 lakh crores. The second one is around 9 lakh crores. The third one is around 10 lakh crores. 10 lakh crores. Okay? So next line. In the general government tax revenues, 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 బిఫోర్ డివల్యూషన్ అంటే సెంటర్ నుంచి స్టేట్స్కి డబ్బులు వెళ్ళడానికి ముందు in the general government tax revenues before devolution, the share of the union in the general government tax revenues before devolution, the share of the union 63 to 64%. The share of the union government 63 to 64%. The next one, the share of the states, the share of the states, the share of the states 36 to 37. This is an important fact. Better if you remember and use it in your mains answers. The data is from 16th FC. I have not created this data. In the general government tax revenues before devolution, the share of the union 63 to 64%. The share of the states 36 to 37. Full stop. After devolution, by these three methods, after devolution, the share of the union in the general government tax revenues, after devolution, the share of the union in the general government tax revenues, after devolution, the share of the union government in general government tax revenues 43%. After devolution, the share of the union government in general government tax revenues 43%, comma. The share of all the states, 57%. 57%. అంతకుముందు ఎంత అండి స్టేట్స్ది డివల్యూషన్కి ముందు 36-37, ఇప్పుడు 57. మరి 36-37 57 ఎలా పెరిగింది? ఎంత పెరిగింది? 20% పెరిగింది. ఎలా పెరిగింది? ఫైనాన్స్ కమిషన్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా వల్ల దాదాపుగా, విత్ ద ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఆఫ్ 282. దిస్ ఈస్ ద రోల్ ఆఫ్ ఫైనాన్స్ కమిషన్. Am I clear? Then I will discuss one more concept, alternate scheme of devolution. Alternate scheme of devolution, very important. So write down major taxes in the union list. 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 Write down one by one. The first one, personal income tax. Second one, corporation tax. Personal income tax. Second one, corporation tax. Third one, customs duty, the one which is levied on exports and imports. Fourth one, excise duty, central excise, it is called central excise duty. What is excise duty? It is a tax which is levied on manufacturing. So manufacturing of this table, manufacturing of this pen, on manufacturing, the union government has the power to levy tax. That is called excise, central excise duty. The next one, central GST, central GST. The next one, personal income tax, corporation tax, customs duty, central excise duty. The next one, central GST. The next one, integrated GST. Integrated GST. So these are the major taxes. This is 50-year period, 1950 to 2000. So in this period, listen, don't write. From 1950 to 2000, I said there are taxes in the union list. The revenue from all the taxes in the union list is not shared with states. All the taxes are not shared between 1950 and 2000. Personal income tax, shared. So if the union government gets 100 rupees through personal income tax, this is this much for me, this much for you. Corporation tax, no, not shared, only for the union. Customs duty, only for the union. Excise duty, choice of the union government. If it wants to share, it can. Otherwise, it doesn't need to share. It doesn't need to share. But it was sharing some money to the center, some money to the states, which means from 1950 to 2000, only two taxes in the union list are shared with states. Income through personal income tax, income through central excise. This is shared. Other taxes not shared, for union only. 10th Finance Commission said, no, let us not do like this. Let the revenue of the union government, which comes through all the taxes, let this be shared with the states, so that the states will get more money from the center. That is called alternate scheme of devolution. Alternate scheme of devolution, it refers to giving a share to all the states in the tax revenues of the union government, all the taxes. Okay, so here you write down 10th Finance Commission, 11th Finance Commission, 12th Finance Commission, 13th Finance Commission, 14th Finance Commission, 15th and 16th. Write down this way. So it's at 29%, it's at 29.5%, 12th is at 30.5%, 13th at 32%, 14th at 42%, 15th and 16th both said 41%. 10th Finance Commission recommended a share of 29%. In what? Divisible pool, ma'am. How do you get divisible pool? From the gross tax revenue, take away cess, take away surcharge, take away cost of collecting the taxes, take away the tax revenues of the UTs. Whatever remains, that is called divisible pool. So before 2000, all the tax revenues are not shared. After 2000, all the tax revenues are shared. All the tax revenues means other than cess and surcharge. That is a big change. So 10th Finance Commission has recommended a share of 29% in the divisible pool. That increased to 29.5%. 11th Finance Commission said 29.5. 12th Finance Commission said 30.5. 13th Finance Commission said 32%. See this gap. Where do you see the big jump? 14th Finance Commission said 32 to 42. A sudden jump by 10 percentage points. The previous ones only incremental change, small change. And the recent Finance Commissions, 15th and 16th FCs, they said 41%. Why it has come down by 1%? So Jammu and Kashmir was earlier a state. Later on it became into two union territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. That 1% is set aside for J&K and Ladakh. That's how it became 41. So write down. Alternate scheme of devolution. Alternate scheme of devolution. Alternate scheme of devolution. Alternate scheme of devolution. This was recommended by 10th Finance Commission. This was recommended by 10th Finance Commission. This was alternate scheme of devolution. Alternate scheme of devolution. This was recommended by 10th Finance Commission in 2000. So to implement this, Constitution was amended. The amendment, it is 80th Amendment, 80. This was implemented through 80th Amendment to the Indian Constitution. This was implemented through 80th Amendment to the Indian Constitution. 80. This was implemented through 80th Amendment to the Indian Constitution. So this amendment said, my dear, this amendment said, in the gross tax revenue, take away cess, take away surcharge, take away cost of collecting, take away taxes of the UTs. Whatever remains, in that give a share. That is called alternate scheme of devolution. A share in the divisible pool of taxes. So that is, I said 29%, 29.5%, 30%, whatever. So this was implemented through 80th Amendment. In other words, 80th Amendment did not recommend a share to the states in the income through cess and surcharge. The revenue which the union government gets through cess and surcharge, not shared with states. Who recommended? 10th Finance Commission. 80th Amendment, 80. 80th Amendment did not recommend a share to the states. 80th Amendment did not recommend a share. 80th Amendment did not recommend a share to the states. 80th Amendment did not recommend a share to the states in cess and surcharge. Okay? I said all the states will get a share in the divisible pool of taxes. Which article says that? Now all the 28 states, they get 41% in the divisible pool of taxes. Article 270. Do you know Article 270 before 2000? Write down. Don't write down. Listen. Before 2000, Article 270 said it spoke about only personal income tax. Before 2000, Article 270 spoke about personal income tax. What did it speak? In the personal income tax, a share must be given to states. Now we have amended that. Now what Article 270 says now? All the states will get a share, some share in the net proceeds of taxes, in the divisible pool of taxes. So 80th amendment, right down, 80th amendment, 80th amendment, 80th amendment, 80th amendment act, 80th amendment act of 2000, 80th amendment act of 2000 amended Article 270. 80th Amendment Act of 2000 amended Article 270. What is the change? Earlier, share to the states only in the income tax as per Article 270. Now, share to the states in all the taxes after taking away cess and surcharge. And there is one more article, Article 272. Article 272 said, don't write, listen. Article 272 said, states must be given share in the excise duty also. But now excise is also part of divisible pool. Do we need again Article 272? Not required. That's why Article 272 deleted through 80th Amendment. Am I clear? Before 2000, Article 272 said, my dear central government, give a share to the states in the excise duty. Now excise duty is part of divisible pool. All the taxes are part of divisible pool. So there is no need to continue Article 272. So Article 272 was deleted, right down. Article 272 was deleted. Article 272 was deleted by 80th Amendment. Article 272 was deleted by 80th Amendment. Okay? This is what you are expected to know and to understand the recommendations of the 16th Finance Commission. Okay? What is the time? 6. So I can continue up to 7. Ma'am said 4:30 to 7. Be patient for another 1 hour, it will be done. Very important for the next 5 years. On record, I am saying, in the coming prelims, one question is expected. In the coming mains exam, one question, very much expected. Because the report of the 16th Finance Commission, very, very important in the center-state relations. And the report is out in February 1st. On February 1st, you have prelims exam in May or June. So in polity, what else is important than the 16th FC? You may get a question on the criteria for horizontal devolution. Write down. Recommendations of 16th Finance Commission of India. Recommendations of 16th Finance Commission of India. Take down this table. This table, very, very, very important. It's important for prelims, also important for mains. Examiner, UPSC can ask, what are the differences between the 15th and the 16th Finance Commission? I said, all the 28 states will get 41% in the divisible pool. How do you share this money among the 28 states? For this, there is a criteria that is called criteria for horizontal devolution. For distributing the share of the states in the central government tax revenues among the 28 states, there is a criteria. That is called criteria for horizontal devolution. Write down the heading, criteria for horizontal devolution. Then, the next one, income distance is 45%, 42.5%. Area, 15%, this is 10%. Forest, 10%, 10%. Tax effort, here it is 2.5. Here you have nothing. Contribution to GDP, contribution to GDP. Contribution to GDP. Here you have nothing. Here you have 10%. There is one more criteria you can write here: demographic performance. Demographic performance, very, very, very important for both prelims and mains, my dear. This is 12.5, this is 10%. This is the most important recommendation of the entire 16th Finance Commission report. When the money is distributed among the 28 states, the money is given based on this, on the basis of population, on the basis of area, on the basis of poverty, on the basis of forest cover, on the basis of the performance of the states in controlling population, on the basis of the ability of the states to generate tax revenue, on the basis of the contribution of states to the national income. So this is the table. So here 15 plus 45, 60, 75, 85, 12.5 plus 100. Here again 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. 17 plus 42. How much it is? 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Over 100. So ఇవన్నీ యాడ్ చేస్తే 100 వస్తుంది, ఇవన్నీ యాడ్ చేస్తే 100 వస్తుంది. సో ఇక్కడ చేంజెస్ చూడండి. What are the changes made by the 16th Finance Commission with compared to 15th Finance Commission with respect to criteria for horizontal devolution? So give the heading: changes made by 16th Finance Commission. After having done this table, first write this table. Demographic performance, 15th Finance Commission has given a weightage of 12.5, 16th 10% weightage. 2011 census population, 15th Finance Commission 15% weightage, 16th Finance Commission 17.5% weightage. Income distance, 45% weightage by 15th, 42.5 by 16th. Area, 15% by 15th, 10% by 16th. Forest cover, both have given 10%. Tax effort, it is absent in 16th, it is present in 15th, that is 2.5. Contribution to GDP, absent in 15th, present in 16th, 10% weightage. Am I clear? Okay. So write down the changes. Changes made by 16th Finance Commission. Changes made by 16th Finance Commission. The first one. I will explain later. Weightage to demographic performance. Weightage. WEIGHTAG. The weightage given to demographic performance. The weightage given to demographic performance decreased from 12.5 to 10%. Decreased from 12.5 to 10%. Very important. It's not so easy to remember, my dear. Even we as the faculty, unless we repeatedly revise, we tend to get confused and forget, because they are all facts. And in the UPSC exam, I have given the sheet. See the questions. The statements, they contain facts, which means that you must remember facts. See the question which has come in 23 prelims. They have given different criteria on the weightage. A similar question can be expected this year. So you should know what is the weight given to different criteria. The first change, write down. Weightage given to demographic performance was reduced from 12.5 to 10. Weightage given to demographic performance was reduced from 12.5 to 10%. Any of these statements can be part of your exam. Which one of the following is a correct statement related to 16th Finance Commission? You can go 2-3 statements. How many of the above statements are correct? Only 3, only 2, only 1. Or which of the above statements are correct? Like that question can come. Weightage to demographic performance was decreased from 12.5 to 10. Then the next one. Weightage to 2011 census population. Weightage to 2011 census population. Weightage to 2011 census population increased from 15% to 17.5%. Weightage to 2011 census population increased from 15% to 17.5%. The next one. The weightage to income distance, I will explain what is income distance later. The weightage to income distance, decreased from 45 to 42.5%. The weightage to income distance decreased from 45 to 42.5%. Okay, clear? The weightage to area, reduced from 15 to 10%. The weightage to area reduced from 15 to 10%. By whom? 16th FC. The next one, the weightage to forest, it remained the same. The weightage to forest cover, remained the same, did not change. Okay, the weightage to forest cover remained the same, did not change. Then tax effort was discontinued. 16th Finance Commission did not use tax effort as one of the criteria. I said 2.5 here, nothing. Tax effort was discontinued. Tax effort was discontinued by 16th Finance Commission. I will explain what all this mean. Last one. Contribution to GDP was the new criteria introduced by 16th Finance Commission. This is the most important point. Contribution to GDP. It was not the criteria earlier. We had so far 16 finance commissions. 16 finance commissions. In the last previous 15 finance commissions, contribution to GDP not a criteria. This was introduced for the first time. Contribution to GDP was the new criteria introduced by 16th Finance Commission. Am I clear about the changes? Now come to it. I will take up this later. Population. If the population of the state is more, you will get more money. Take Bihar and UP. Together they get 30% of the entire money for the 28 states. If all the 28 states get 100 rupees, in that 30% is the money for just 2 states, UP and Bihar. So if the 2011 census population, here population, money is given on the basis of population, one of the criteria. If the population of the state is more money you will get. The next one, income distance. What do you mean by income distance? The per capita income of every state is calculated. How do you calculate per capita income? The total income of the state divided by population of the state. You will get per capita income. Per capita income is an indicator of poverty. Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, per capita income very low, very poor states. If you are very poor, you will get more money. So income distance means if a state, they will take a developed state, from that if a particular state is very far away, Bihar is very far away from a developed state like Haryana, then it will get more money. Simply put it, if the poverty of a state is more, you will get more money. Then similarly, area. If area of the state is more, you will get more money. Okay? All these 4, they are called equity. There are 2 kinds of criteria. All these criteria can be broadly categorized into 2. Equity, efficiency. Equity means equality. Means more population, more money. More area means more money. More poverty means more money. So what is the weightage? See here. 17.5 plus 42.5, 60 plus then 70. 70% weightage is given to equity, equality. Whom does this benefit? It benefits the northern states. It benefits the eastern states. What about states like Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat? They are not benefiting. Who asked UP and Bihar not to reduce the population? Is it our mistake? In the last 40 to 50 years, the states in South India, Western India, they have reduced the population. They have invested a lot of money on health and education and infrastructure, created a lot of revenue, contributed a lot to GDP. What are you getting in return? You are being penalized. So, if the population of the state is more, do you know that is some debate is going on delimitation. Delimitation. So, we are going to do delimitation on the basis of the census which is going on, which means we need to increase the states seats in the Lok Sabha as per the new population. We have stopped doing this in 1971. In 1971, that is the last delimitation. When Mrs. Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister, for 25 years she brought an amendment. So next to 25 years, seats in the Lok Sabha will not be increased in proportion to the increase in the population. Then Atal Bihari became the Prime Minister. He said another 25 years, no increase in the seats in the Lok Sabha with increase in population. Why this was done? To tell the states in North India, you have to decrease the population. Even if you increase the population, you will not get benefited. We will not increase the seats. So they have to focus on reducing the population. 50 years over now. We cannot further delay this. Now we have to delimit the constituencies of Lok Sabha as per the new population. If you do this, what will happen? States in southern India will reduce their voice. Their representation in Lok Sabha will come down. States in North India, Eastern India, their representation will increase. Who is responsible for contributing a lot of revenue to the central government? Southern states, western states. Much of the revenue of the union government, much of the GDP in this country, it's coming from southern states, western states. Where this money is going? This money is going to northern states and eastern states. Are they using this money properly? No. So now southern states had a complaint. Why should we make a sacrifice for you? We have controlled population, but now you are giving money on the basis of population, present population. You will get more money. We get less money. Do you want to penalize us? That's one major complaint. Southern states want to reduce the weightage to equity. The southern states and western states, they say, give more money on the basis of performance. For example, demographic performance is one criteria. Demographic performance means if a state has taken measures to reduce the population growth, then it should get more money. But what is the weightage? 10%. Take contribution to GDP. Contribution to GDP means if the economy of a state is doing well, more investment coming, lot of tax revenues getting generated, then it will contribute more to GDP. What is GDP? The final value of goods and services produced. Where do you have more goods and services produced? In the developed states. So southern states and western states are contributing a lot to GDP. That is performance. But what is the weightage given to performance? Contribution to GDP, 10%. So in the criteria recommended by the finance commission, successive finance commissions, even starting from 10th, more weightage is given to equity. Less weightage was given to performance. Whom will this benefit? It will benefit the northern states. So today Bihar gets more money because it has remained poor. Who asked the politicians of Bihar not to address poverty in Bihar? We didn't say them. Bihar should have spent a lot of money on health, on education, on infrastructure, on skill development, could have increased their revenues, reduced their poverty. They have not done that. And they should be penalized. What are you doing? You are rewarding them. If you are more poor, more money. You have more population, more money. Is that fair? This is the question from the southern states. Whatever. Then how that is justified? Assume that in a family there are 4 kids. 2 are not doing well. Don't you think that the parents have to give them extra support? You want to throw them out of house. You cannot do that. So that's the explanation which is given. If you don't promote balanced development in this country, if you leave states in North India underdeveloped and backward, do you think that the people in North India will remain quiet? They will join the ranks of Naxalites. They create instability in this country. So it is necessary in the interest of everyone to promote development in the backward areas. That's what the Finance Commission is trying to do, balancing act. Giving weightage to performance, giving weightage to criteria. And we know the reality. If the area of the state is more, building roads, railways, it needs a lot of money. So we need to give more money. If the population is more, to meet the needs of the present population, drinking water, sanitation, whatever, you need to increase money, whatever right or wrong. If you don't give money, earlier, till 14th Finance Commission, money is given on the basis of 1971 census population. 50 years have gone now. If you continue to give money on the basis of 1971 population, There was a big increase in the population in North India. Will this money will be adequate to North India? That's the question from the northern states. Now there is an interesting argument. Now we speak about demographic dividend. What is demographic dividend? India has got very young population. Young population will increase economic growth in this country. Now it is time to reward the northern states. You should not punish them. These states have got high fertility rate. It's because of the states in North India, more and more number of people are joining the working age population. The demographic dividend is now coming from northern states. So population is going to become an asset to this country. So why should we penalize them? Let's not penalize them. That's why this 12.5 was made 10%. Okay, this was the discussion. This is the big issue between the southern states and northern states. Southern states, they want give money as per 1971 census, not as per level. Southern states and western states. They will say, don't use income distance. Why do you want to reward poverty? Take it away. Or if you want to continue, reduce the weight, not 45, make it 10%. That's the argument from the southern states. Northern states, they say, now we speak about demographic dividend. We have more than 60% of the people in the working age. All these people, if they are educated, if they are healthy, if they have skills, they become wealth creators. Economic growth will increase. India will become Vikasit Bharat, developed nation. So why do you penalize us? Don't do that. You see Biharis everywhere. They come and work here because they work for a lower wage. And the developed states are facing labor shortages. So these are the arguments and counter arguments. Clear? This is the criteria for horizontal devolution. This is the debate between equity versus efficiency. Write down. Equity versus efficiency. Equity versus efficiency. Equity versus efficiency. Equity versus efficiency. First line. If money is given to the states on the basis of equality, if money is given to the states on the basis of equality, based on criteria like, if the money is given to the states on the basis of equality, based on criteria like 2011 census population, 2011 census population, comma, income distance, comma, area, income distance, comma, area, the northern states and the eastern states get benefited. The northern states and the eastern states get benefited. The southern states lose. The southern states lose. The southern states lose. Full stop. 70% weightage is given to equity criteria. 70% weightage is given to equity criteria. 70% weightage is given to equity criteria. I said population 17.5, income distance 42.5, together 60, area 10, 70. 70% weightage is given to equity criteria, full stop. Southern states demand reducing the weightage to equity. Southern states demand reducing the weightage. Southern states demand reducing the weightage to equity criteria. Equity criteria, full stop. What do you mean by this? Southern states say, don't take 11 census population, take 1971 census population. Income distance, drop it, like that. Southern states, next line, southern states want more money. Southern states want more money. Southern states want more money. Southern states want more money on the basis of performance indicators. Southern states want more money on the basis of performance indicators like demographic performance, like demographic performance, comma, contribution to GDP, etc. Contribution to GDP, etc. Am I clear? Got to know the differences between the criteria of the 15th and 16th. I am repeating. Weightage to 2011 census population increased 15 to 17.5. Income distance weightage reduced 45 to 42.5. Weightage to area reduced from 15 to 10%. Weightage to demographic performance reduced from 12.5 to 10%. Forest cover remained the same, 10-10. Tax effort dropped by 16th Finance Commission. Contribution to GDP added by 16th Finance Commission with a weightage of 10%. So this is one important recommendation. Second one. This I have already told you. A share of 41%. A share of 41% to all the states. A share of 40. This is horizontal devolution. I am telling about vertical devolution. How much all the states should get? 41% in the divisible pool. If, what did I say? A share of 41% to all the states. A share of 41% to all the states in the divisible pool of taxes. A share of 41% to all the states. A share of 41% to all the states in the divisible pool of taxes. This is one recommendation. 15th also said 41. 16th also said 41. Clear? The next one. See, the central government is spending a lot of money on centrally sponsored schemes. How much is the money? 26, 27, how much the union government is planning to spend on centrally sponsored schemes? 10 lakh crores. The recommendation of 16th Finance Commission is, there are many centrally sponsored schemes. Identify, appoint a committee, review these centrally sponsored schemes. Those centrally sponsored schemes which have good outcomes, which are being better implemented, retain them. Other schemes which are not doing well, wind up them. Let's not waste money. That's one recommendation. Write down. The 16th FC has recommended. 16th FC has recommended continuing those centrally sponsored schemes. 16th FC has recommended, 16th Finance Commission has recommended continuing those centrally sponsored schemes which are better implemented. Continuing those centrally sponsored schemes which are better implemented, showing outcomes. And winding up, WINDING, and winding up those schemes which are not doing well, and winding up those schemes which are not doing well, and winding up those schemes which are not doing well. Okay? Then let's move to fiscal deficit. This is called macroeconomic stability, fiscal deficit. What is fiscal deficit, my dear? What is fiscal deficit? Assume that you are all married, having kids. So in one particular year, your total revenue from all sources is 10 lakhs, but your expenditure is 12 lakhs. What will you do? Borrow money. That is fiscal deficit. So every year, how much the government borrows to meet the expenditure? I will give an example. What is the budget of the union government? 54 lakh crores. 54 lakh crores. The union government gets only around 36 lakh crores from all sources of revenue. And there is a gap of 17 lakh crores. And to meet the expenditure, the union government will borrow this money. This is fiscal deficit. So write down. Fiscal deficit refers to the borrowing requirements. Fiscal deficit refers to the borrowing requirements of a government. Fiscal deficit, it refers to the borrowing requirements of a government in a financial year. Fiscal deficit refers to the borrowing requirements of a government in a financial year. Give an example. Expenditure for 26-27. The union government will take an example. Write down expenditure for union government, expenditure of union government for 2026-27. 53 lakhs 47,315 crores. This is the expenditure, total expenditure which is estimated 53 lakhs 47,315 crores. But what is the revenue of the union government from all these sources? Write down 36 lakhs 51,547 crores. 36 lakhs 51,547 crores. This is the revenue of the union government from all these sources. And what is the gap? 16 lakhs 95,768 crores. 16 lakhs 95,768 crores. This is the gap. This is borrowed. The union government borrowed this money. That is called fiscal deficit. So here write down fiscal deficit is equal to this money 53 lakhs 47,315 minus 36 lakhs 51,547. Total expenditure minus revenue of the union government from all these sources. Revenue of the union government from all these sources. Total expenditure minus revenue of the union government from all these sources. Clear? Clear. This is the concept. What is the recommendation of the 16th Finance Commission? If you take the union budget 2026-27, what is the estimated fiscal deficit? Usually fiscal deficit, we tell it in the form of share in the GDP. We don't discuss it in the name of absolute figures. 25-26, the fiscal deficit is 4.4%. 26-27, we feel that it will come down to 4.3. But 16th Finance Commission said, by 2030-31, the last year of the award period. So the report is called award. What is the last year? 2030-31. It should become 3.5%. 16th Finance Commission has recommended reducing the fiscal deficit of the union government to 3.5% of GDP by 2030-31. Fact, you should remember. Tomorrow if there is a statement, you cannot argue that I can't remember facts. See the questions. The question which has come on 15th, 14th. The statements are about facts only. Sector specific grants 4,000 crores. State specific grants some. So they are all facts only. So sometimes most of the questions in the UPSC prelims, yes, concept based, your understanding based, but not all questions. There are some questions which do come on facts, hard facts. You should remember. Write down the next recommendation. 16th FC has recommended. 16th FC has recommended. 16th FC has recommended that the fiscal deficit of the union government. 16th FC has recommended that the fiscal deficit of the union government, should come down to, the fiscal deficit of the union government should come down to 3.5% of GDP, should come down to 3.5% of GDP by 2030-31. The fiscal deficit of the union government should come down to 3.5% of GDP by 2030-31. Within the brackets, write down. What is it now? 4.4% of GDP, 2025-26. The present fiscal deficit is within the brackets, write down. 2025-26, 4.4%. From 4.4 From 4.4, it should come down to 3.5. Okay, the next one. What about the states? The fiscal deficit of the states should not exceed 3% of GSDP. The fiscal deficit of the states, each state, the fiscal deficit of the state should not exceed 3% of GSDP. 3% of GSDP, gross state domestic product. In the state of Telangana will have GSDP. So in one financial year, what is the total value of goods and services produced within the territory of Telangana? That is GSDP. In that, it should not be more than 3%. 3% of GSDP. Am I clear? Then, I think you might be aware of FRBM. This is one important reform. We know that today in India, who is N.K. Singh? Heard about N.K. Singh? He was the chairman of the 15th Finance Commission. He also headed a committee to see the implementation of FRBM Act. That committee is called FRBM Review Committee. N.K. Singh. See, we all know that in India, especially at the state level, the political parties will do whatever is necessary to come to power. They would say free power, free color television, free liquor bottles, so many bottles if required. So that's why recently, day before yesterday, Supreme Court said something about this in the newspaper Hindu. States are giving more and more freebies, uchita patakalu, అవసరం ఉన్నా లేకున్నా అవసరమైన వాళ్ళకి అవసరం లేని వాళ్ళకి ఎందుకు the parties want to come to power. Is this good for the country? If you spend all the money for freebies, where is the money for infrastructure, roads, ports, railways? How do you create jobs without economic development? So that's why N.K. Singh said freebies are a passport to financial disaster. Sri Lanka witnessed a financial crisis 2-3 years back. This would be the fate of states in the future if they don't spend properly and wisely. So to tell the central government and all the states to spend money more wisely, a law was made in 2003 that was called FRBM, Fiscal Responsibility and the Budget Management Act. Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act 2003. This law was made by Parliament in 2003. Later on, after 2007, similar laws were made by the states, most of the states. And this law was amended in 2018. FRBM Act 2003 was amended in 2018 on the recommendations of N.K. Singh Committee. FRBM Review Committee headed by N.K. Singh has made certain recommendations. So write down. This is not part of recommendations, this is to explain you. Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Amendment Act 2018. Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management. Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Amendment Act 2018. What does this law says? There is a concept called debt to GDP ratio. Debt to GDP ratio. How much the debt should be as percentage of GDP. So what is recommended and what is the reality now? Recommended, present situation, take this table. Central government, it should be 40%. The debt to GDP ratio of the union government should be 40%. But how much it is now? 56.4. States, all the states together, recommended is 20%. Today 26.4. Then center and states together, what is it called? General government, I said. General government debt, debt of the center and states together is called general government debt. So general government debt, center and states together, it should be 60% of GDP, 40 plus 20. What is it now? Add it. It's around 82%. Okay. So this should be by 2024-25, my dear. We have already crossed this year. FRBM Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Amendment Act 2018 said by 2024-25, the central government debt should be 40% of GDP. The debt of all these states should be 20% of GDP. The debt of the general government, central and states together, should be 60% of GDP. But what is the situation today? 23-24. This is the data for 23-24. 16th Finance Commission. Center 56.4, states 26.4. Together it is 82%. Okay. So then there is a scheme called SASI. SCA. Read about this. The union government gives loans to the states to do capital expenditure. What is capital expenditure? Creating assets, spending on infrastructure. They are called interest-free loans. Government is not taking any interest, central government. They are called 50-year interest-free loans. The union government is giving this from 2020-21. That scheme is called SHASI. So there can be in the prelims exam 2 statements. The scheme was started in 2020-21, and because of this scheme, the capital expenditure is now 3.2% of GDP. The spending on infrastructure has increased because of this scheme. So whatever. So here the point is, all the 28 states, they took loans from the union government under this scheme. Okay. And there is one article in the Constitution, Article 293, Clause 3. This article says, if the state governments are already in debt to the union government, when they try to borrow again, they should take the permission of the union government. Without the permission of the union government, they cannot borrow. 16th Finance Commission said, the union government must regulate the states by using Article 293, Clause 3. Is this good or bad? The union government regulating the states from borrowing money. All the states took loans from the center. Now they are indebted to center. Now if they want to borrow additional money, they should get the permission from the union government. And the 16th FC is saying, please use 293, Clause 3, control the states. What is the reality in the states? Borrowing money left and right for all wasteful expenditure. Take Telangana. I will give an example. I said, if the total revenue of Telangana government is 100 rupees in 1 year, 80 rupees coming from the state, 20 rupees coming from center. Telangana, Haryana doing so well. They are very less dependent on the center. Average for the states, more than 40, I said. Average out of every 100 rupees, state is getting 60, 40 is coming from the center. If you take states like Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, they get 90% from the center. So Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, very dependent on the center. Punjab and Telangana, Haryana and Telangana, less dependent. Even in such a state like Telangana, recently I went to Telangana Study Circle to meet my friend who is a director there. He is just telling their salaries are not being paid in time. Telangana is one state which is doing so well in terms of economic development. But even in such states, this is the problem. What they are doing, what the politicians are doing, whatever money is available, free. RTC travel free, cylinder free, everything is free. If you spend all the money which the state governments get for these things without creating capacity in the economy, Is that good for the country? Not at all good for the country. So is it good or bad for the union government controlling the states? It's good. So 16th FC said control. But Kerala recently went to Supreme Court. Kerala is trying to borrow money for legitimate purpose. Kerala doesn't have much industrial development. The revenue which it is getting is not able to meet the needs of expenditure, salaries, all of that. It tried to borrow money. It is also indebted to center. Center said, no, you cannot, without my permission. It went to Supreme Court. It went to Supreme Court saying that I have the supreme political power to borrow money. The matter is not yet settled. So overall, if you see at the bird's eye view, is it good or bad for the central government telling the states to be more wise while spending money? That's good. So write down. So here you have written of Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Amendment Act 2018. There you write one more point. Earlier, in the 2000 law, there were two concepts, revenue deficit, effective revenue deficit. They are dropped in the Amendment Act. We get a question. Which one of the following is true about FRBM Amendment Act 2018? First statement. Revenue deficit and revenue deficit and effective revenue deficits are dropped. Second one. It focuses only on fiscal deficit and debt to GDP ratio. Both are correct. So write down under FRBM Amendment Act 2018. The concept of revenue deficit and effective revenue deficit were dropped. They are not being continued now. The concept of revenue deficit and effective revenue deficit. The concept of revenue deficit and effective revenue deficit dropped. Okay. It focuses, that is Amendment Act 2018. It focuses on fiscal deficit and debt to GDP ratio. It focuses on fiscal deficit and debt to GDP ratio. Debt to GDP ratio. Which means in future when you try to measure the financial performance of the center and the states, you will not speak about revenue deficit. You will not speak about effective revenue deficit. You speak about fiscal deficit. I said center should come down to 3.5% by 2030-31. State should stay at 3% of GSDP. Similarly, debt to GDP ratio, central government should come down to 40%. States all together should come down to 20%. Center and states together should come down to 60%. That's it. No discussion on revenue deficit and effective revenue deficit. So write down. Next recommendation. 16th FC recommended that 16th FC recommended that the union government should regulate. 16th FC recommended that the union government should regulate the borrowing. The union government should regulate the borrowing by the states by using Article 293 Clause 3. By using Article 293 Clause 3. This article allows the union government to do so. Right? Then, one more recommendation. I said about FRBM, it was enacted even in the states, but they are not amended like the Central Act. So 16th FC said, amend the state laws. I said the GDP, debt to GDP 40% for center, 20% for all states, together it is 60%. So amend the FRBM laws at the state level, in tune with the Amendment Act at the union level. And if the states don't reach the targets, they should tell the concerned state legislature why they could not meet the targets. This is to ensure accountability on the part of the state governments. That is the next recommendation. 16th FC recommended that state FRBM laws should be amended. Sixteenth FC recommended that the state FRBM laws should be amended like the Central Act, That is FRBM Amendment Act 2018. Full stop. If any state government doesn't meet the targets under FRBM, that is amended FRBM. If any state government doesn't meet the targets under FRBM, it should explain the concerned state legislature. The reasons for not reaching them. Okay, next. I said DM grants, disaster management grants. This is fact, my dear. You should remember and mug up those facts. What are the funds at the state level? SDRF, SDMF, State Disaster Response Fund, State Disaster Mitigation Fund. For these two funds, listen, don't write. For these two funds, the total money for 5 years, it is, write down now, 2,04,401 crores. From 2026-27 to 2030-31 for a 5-year period, the total money which is available for disaster management in all the states, 2,04,401 crore. In that, 80% to SDRF in this money, 20% to SDMF. Okay, clear? Assume that for all the states, the fund for disaster management at the state level is 100 rupees. 80 rupees will be given for SDRF in all the 28 states. 20 rupees will be given for all the SDMFs in the 28 states. So this money is distributed between response fund and mitigation fund in the ratio of 80:20. Clear? Then I said in every state, I said two funds, SDRF, SDMF. Clear? Assume that SDRF has got 100 rupees money. Say in the state of Telangana, there is 100 rupees in the SDRF. So how much the center should give? How much the state should give? 75:25. SDMF also 75:25. For a general category states, I am saying. So we have states in Northeast India and we have Himalayan states. Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, 7 states in Northeast India, Sikkim. For that it is different. All the other states, general category states, if there is 100 rupees in SDRF, 75% contribution by center, 25% concerned state. Similarly, in the state disaster mitigation fund, 75% contribution by center, 25% by state. If it is Northeast and Himalayan states, it is 90:10. The center will give 90%, the concerned state will contribute 10%. So write down this way. If you are not in a position to write down, this table if you write, you will not get anything, you will forget later on, you will get confused. Write down the way I said, I will tell you. This you have written now? Write down this one also you write down. The total allocation for disaster management at the state level. The total allocation for disaster management at the state level for all the 28 states. The total allocation for disaster management at the state level, 2,04,401 crores. 2,04,401 crores for 5 years, my dear, for the next 5 years. Clear? For all the 28 states to deal with the disaster management, the total money which is allocated, 2,04,401 crores. Full stop. In that, 80% goes to, in that 80% goes to SDRF. In that 80% goes to SDRF. 20% goes to SDMF. 20% goes to SDMF. Clear? Next line. In the general category states, SDRF and SDMF are funded, rendu amma, both. In the general category states, SDMF and SDRF are funded by the center and the state, in the ratio of 75:25. 75:25. ఓకేనా? మరి 80-20కి దీనికి ఏంటి సార్ తేడా? 80% మనీ ఎస్డిఆర్ఎఫ్లోకి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది అన్ని స్టేట్స్లోకి. అది అన్ని స్టేట్స్ మధ్య డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ అయిపోతుంది. ప్రతి స్టేట్లో ఎస్డిఆర్ఎఫ్ ఉంటుంది. సమ్ ఎక్స్ ఉందనుకోండి, 100 ఉందనుకోండి, ఈ డబ్బుల్ని ఎలా షేర్ చేసుకోవాలి సెంటర్ అండ్ స్టేట్స్ అంటే 75-25 జనరల్ కేటగిరీ స్టేట్స్ అయితే. నెక్స్ట్ రైట్ డౌన్. In northeast and Himalayan states, in northeast and Himalayan states, SDRF and SDMF are funded by the center and state. In northeast and Himalayan states, SDRF and SDMF are funded by the center and states in the ratio of 90:10. 90:10. Clear? So, ఈ 2,04,401 crore, I said 80:20. So, 80 will come down to 1,63,521. Or you can calculate also by yourself, not a big deal. Then what about the funds at the national level? There is also allocation for funding at the national level for disaster management. Why do you need funds at the national level? If the funds at the state level are not adequate, states can ask money from the center, for which you need to have funds at the national level. I said NDRF, NDMF. The total allocation for NDRF, NDMF, write down. The total allocation for NDRF, NDMF. The total allocation for NDRF, NDMF. The total allocation for NDRF, NDMF. 79,406 crores. 79,406 crores. Okay. This is again, write down, this total money. NDRF, NDMF shared 80:20. This is again divided, this total money 79 lakhs 400. This is again divided between NDRF and NDMF. This is again divided, that is 79 lakh, 79,406 crores. This is again divided between NDRF and NDMF in the ratio of 80:20. In the ratio of 80:20. What is the time? I need another 10 minutes, I will complete. It will be done. The next one. You know, heat wave and the lightning. You know that because of climate change and global warming, tropical cyclones have become much more severe, much more energetic, resulting in lightning. Similarly, droughts are becoming severe, heat wave is becoming severe. So the list of disasters at the national and on state level, they are not same. At the national level, in the present list, you don't have heat wave and lightning. So 16th FC has recommended include lightning and heat wave in the list of disasters at the national level. 16th FC has recommended including heat wave and lightning, including heat wave and lightning in the national list of disasters. In the national list of disasters. Then we need to discuss about local body grants. So the grants given to local bodies. Write down. The total the total money, given for local body grants, the total money given for local body grants, rupees 7 lakhs 91,493 crores. This is again a fact you must remember. Tomorrow if there is a question, which one of the following is a true statement relating to the recommendations of the 16th Finance Commission? First statement, 16th FC has recommended a local body grant of 7,91,493 crores for 5-year period. It recommended 2,04,401 crores for disaster management at the state level. Questions will come like that, statements will come like that. The hard facts are important. I have given the previous questions, go through them. So that's how the questions may come again. So 7,91,493 crores, this is the total money which is given as local body grants. But we have two kinds of local bodies, rural local bodies, urban local bodies. So we have Grama Panchayat, Mandal Parishad, Jilla Parishad in the rural areas. In the urban areas, corporation, municipality, Nagar Panchayat. How this money has to be shared between rural and urban areas? What is the population of, what is urban population as per 2011 census? Roughly. In the total population, what is the share of urban population? Share of urban population. It's around 30%. When? 2011. We are in 25, 15 years have gone. So urban population would it have increased or decreased? It would have increased. Roughly it would have come down to somewhere around close to 40%. So this money, it will be distributed between the rural and urban areas in the ratio of 60:40. 60% of the money goes to rural areas, 40% goes to urban areas. Write down. This money is distributed. This money is distributed between the rural and urban areas. This money is distributed between the rural and urban areas. This money is distributed between the rural and urban areas in the ratio of 60:40. In the ratio of 60:40. Clear? Do you know about 5th and 6th schedule areas? 6th schedule areas, they are located in Northeast India, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. In all these 4 states, in the tribal areas, you have local bodies called autonomous councils. Similarly, in the 6th schedule areas, you have 3-tier Panchayat Raj, which is called the PESA Act, Panchayats Extension to Schedule Areas. 15th Finance Commission recommended local body grants to local bodies in 5th and 6th schedule areas. But the 16th FC said no money. Let the states do this, write down. 16th FC, 16th Finance Commission has not recommended grants to local bodies. 16th Finance Commission has not recommended grants to local bodies in 5th and 6th schedule areas. In 5th and 6th schedule areas. What about 15th? It has recommended. It has recommended. The 16th Finance Commission has not recommended grants to the local bodies in 5th and 6th schedule areas. The next one, remember, listen. See, these grants, local body grants, they come from center to these states. From the states, they go to local bodies. Do you know what the state governments do? In Andhra Pradesh, when Jagan Mohan Reddy was the chief minister, he will press the button, transfer the money to beneficiaries under different schemes. This money will never go to local bodies. That's why 16th FC has said, you must transparently show in the budget every year how much money which we have given from the center is spent on local bodies, how much money you have spent on local bodies, all of this, right down. 16th FC has recommended that the state budgets must show. 16th FC has recommended that state budgets must show transparently the expenditure made. 16th FC said that the state budget must show transparently the expenditure made by the states. The expenditure made by the states on local bodies, గ్రాంట్స్, లోకల్ బాడీ గ్రాంట్స్ కమింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ ద సెంటర్. స్టేట్స్ కొన్ని డబ్బులు ఇస్తాయి లోకల్ బాడీస్, అలానే సెంటర్ ఇస్తుంది. ఇవన్నీ ఖర్చు పెట్టింది బడ్జెట్లో చూపించాలి. గ్రాంట్స్, లోకల్ బాడీ గ్రాంట్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ద సెంటర్, లోకల్ బాడీ గ్రాంట్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ద సెంటర్, and discretionary grants under Article 282. Discretionary grants under Article 282. So ఇవన్నీ బడ్జెట్లో చూపించాలి. This is to ensure transparency. The next one. So in the recent period, off-budget borrowings have become a very big issue. Off-budget. If you take the state budget, the state governments will show their debt, whatever they have borrowed in the budget. But in the state government, there are public sector undertakings like RTC. They borrow money. The government gives the guarantee, state government. The government will pay the interest. But these borrowings are not shown in the state budget. So that's why 16th Finance Commission has said, don't do, what do you mean by off budget? Borrowings which are not shown in the budget. Don't make off budget borrowings. If you make off budget borrowings, show them in the budget. So the cap is fixed. GSDPలో ఎంత బడ్జెట్ ఉండాలో ఫిక్స్ చేశారు. మీరు బడ్జెట్లో అన్నీ చూపించకపోతే ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ ఉండదు. Am I clear? Off budget, I will show you. I am coming to that. Off budget borrowings. Off budget borrowings. Central government has become a holy cow. Central government was also doing this till 16-17. Till 2016-17, the central government is also not showing off-budget borrowings in the budget. But from 2016-17 onwards, if the central public sector undertakings borrow money on the guarantee of Government of India, they are now being shown in the budget of the union government. The states must also do like that. What the states borrow directly, they are shown in the budget. But what the corporations and public sector undertakings at the state level borrow, it is not shown in the budget. They must be shown. That's the recommendation. Right on. 16th FC has recommended. 16th FC has recommended another two recommendations. 16th FC has recommended that off-budget borrowings. Here I have written the off, which means borrowings which are not shown in the budget. 16th FC has recommended that off-budget borrowings made by entities, ENTITIES, entities means public sector undertakings. Off-budget borrowings made by the entities at the state level must be shown in the budget. 16th FC has recommended off-budget borrowings made by the entities at the state level must be shown in the budget, like the union government. Must be shown in the budget like the union government. Full stop. There you write down within the brackets. 2016-17. The union government is showing its off-budget borrowings in the budget from 16-17. Okay. Then last recommendation. You know, see, the union government gives this money, local body grants, to the states. Many a time they don't release this money to the local bodies within the stipulated time. So that's why 16th FC said, within 10 days after you get the money, you must send it to local bodies. If you delay, you should pay the interest to the local bodies, so that state government will feel more responsible to send that money. If it doesn't send in time, you should pay additionally interest also. 16th FC has recommended that local body grants must be dissolved by the states. 16th FC recommended that local body grants must be devolved by the state within 10 days. Within 10 days. Devolve to whom? To local bodies only. సెంటర్ నుంచి స్టేట్స్కి వస్తాయి, స్టేట్ నుంచి లోకల్ బాడీస్కి వెళ్ళాలి. 10 days లోపు ఇచ్చేయాలి. వచ్చిన తర్వాత 10 days లోపు ఇచ్చేయాలి. ఇవ్వకపోతే దాని మీద ఇంట్రెస్ట్ కూడా ఇవ్వాలి. If there is a delay, the state governments should pay interest. If there is a delay beyond 10 days, the state government should pay interest. The state government should pay interest to the local bodies. Okay. Then two more recommendations, very simple. I said about subsidies, fertilizer subsidy, food subsidy. The biggest subsidy at the state level, tell me what is that? The biggest subsidy, the largest subsidy at the state level. Power subsidy, free power. So 16th FC has very clearly said, it said that rationalize subsidies. Subsidies are a wasteful expenditure. They are not spending on infrastructure. So you have to reduce the subsidies. So 16th FC said, to whomsoever it is necessary, give them. For example, pension. Give pension to old age people, widows, disabled people. Now in Andhra Pradesh, there are people who are below between 40 and 60 getting pension. That is not necessary. Your budget is not so high. If you have a lot of money, you can give. So write on that. 16th FC has recommended rationalizing the subsidy expenditure. 16th FC has recommended rationalizing the subsidy expenditure to reduce revenue expenditure. To reduce revenue expenditure. To reduce revenue expenditure. To reduce revenue expenditure. Then, listen. So what are the grants recommended by 16th Finance Commission? I said disaster management grants, local body grants. But I said there are other categories. Revenue deficit grants, sector specific grants, state specific grants. 15th Finance Commission has recommended all these three. What is revenue deficit grant? If there is a gap between revenue expenditure and revenue receipt, this money is bridged by central government on the recommendations of the 16th Finance Commission. We had 16 Finance Commissions till now. All the 15 Finance Commissions have given revenue deficit grants. 16th FC said I will not give. Why? If I keep on giving you revenue deficit grants, what you will do? Freebies, pressing button, transferring money. You will never reduce your wasteful expenditure. So we will not give you money. You try to rationalize your revenue expenditure, reduce your revenue deficits. So revenue deficit grants rejected. Sector and state specific grants, they are given once in a while. Not every Finance Commission has recommended that. 15th has recommended. 14th has not recommended. There is a question in the prelims paper, in the prelims bids. 15th Finance Commission has recommended sector and state specific grants, remember. 16th rejected. So write down. 16th Finance Commission did not recommend. 16th Finance Commission did not recommend revenue deficit grants. 16th Finance Commission did not recommend revenue deficit grants, sector specific grants and state specific grants. Full stop. Within the brackets, who recommended? 15th has recommended, that you remember. 15th has recommended. Right? Then one more last recommendation. So we have public sector undertakings at the union level and also at the state level. Some public sector undertakings, they are doing so well. Take petroleum sector, ONGC, making lot of profits. Those public sector undertakings which are doing well, making profits, continue them. Others, close them, dispose them off, sell them. If you don't sell them, that will be a burden on the taxpayer. We need to do a lot of expenditure on them. Last one. The 16th FC has recommended privatization of those public sector enterprise. 16th FC has recommended privatizing PRIVATIZING, those public sector undertakings which are in losses. Center aina, state aina, doesn't matter. Annitiki ide recommendation. 16th Finance Commission has recommended privatizing those public sector undertakings which are making losses. Why? See, in the public sector enterprises, there is a lot of our money which is locked there. If you sell them, that money will come out. You can use this money for something which is productive, for a capital expenditure, for a spending on infrastructure. So that's it about 16th Finance Commission recommendations. I said very, very important. This year prelims, this year mains, for next 5 years. This is very important. So try to revise, otherwise you will not remember. Okay? Thank you. Any doubts? You can feel free. Did you understand? Is that clear? Was it difficult? Thank you. Then get ready for a test on this. Maybe after some time, I will send the questions to ma'am. Finance Commission, the basics, the recommendations. I will try to frame some questions for your practice. Okay? And after some time, I will discuss you the questions in the mains, which have come on Finance Commission of India. We have distributed the questions to you. So those questions I will discuss after some time. I will not be available for a week. After I come back, the questions on the test which you are going to take after some time, the questions which have come in the mains, I will try to discuss so that you can do answer writing on these questions which have come in the past. Okay.